Year 536 was the worst year to be alive. What happened? Well, let's find out.
The term worst year ever gets tossed around a lot these days, mostly on the internet, and for reasons like, I was disappointed in the latest Star Wars
I don't
movie.
watch Star
But
Wars, so I'm not
scientists and
disappointed.
historians have actually argued that no year in the long history of this planet was worse than the year 536.
We'll see about that.
While, sure, there have been plenty of worthy
Oh, yeah, I can totally... Well, yeah, when you bring World Wars in, yeah, definitely. But we gotta remember that year 536, no matter how bad it's about to paint, there's at least one thing about this year before it even spells all what's gonna be god-awful about this year. One thing I can say is there's no libtards in that year, so the guys in that year at least had one thing to be happy about. But maybe the rest of the year is total, like, death and agony. I don't know, we'll see.
contenders for the worst year ever over the course of history. No single year
What's this, plague in 1665? I don't know what plague
has had more
Oh,
of a
there he
measurably
is, the man
bad
himself.
impact for the decades that followed.
Yeah.
Today we're going to explain why the year 536 was the worst year to be alive.
They showed a picture of the
But before
Titanic. I don't know if I agree and say that's the worst year ever to be alive. I mean, it's like one ship. Like, it's a big ship, but it sank. Like, I wouldn't say that's worse than... that can compete with, like, World War One. That's not a compatible thing to put against, like, a world war.
Get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History channel.
I will not.
And leave a comment too, and
Unless
let
I
us know
keep
what piece of
reacting.
history you would
I
like
don't know.
us to explain next.
That's a weird picture.
Okay, now let's settle this once and for all. Year 536.
Yeah, what about it?
Worst year ever.
Prove... There are no fireworks. This is lying to me already.
While serving as a military advisor to Belisarius, one of the Byzantine Empire's most distinguished...
I like to say... Don't remember any history from ancient Greek or Rome or any of that crap, just so you guys know. So I'm totally clueless as when I'm coming into this, by the way, just so you guys know.
generals, Byzantine historian Procopius noticed some trouble was brewing in the air while traveling with
Throw
his
at this
boss
picture of
in the
him.
year 536. He wrote of a sun that gave forth light without brightness, during like the moon, during this whole year, and it seemed exceedingly like the sun in eclipse. For the beams it shed
whole
were not
year?
clear, nor such as it is accustomed to shed. Translated, it was all dark outside, like all the time. He, of course, wasn't
What?
the only one to notice the sun appeared to be in a mood during
Bro, look at that face. Oh, the sun. That sun looks like a friggin' scrub right there.
536. Michael the Syrian, a Byzantine scribe, would later write of this period, the sun became dark, and its darkness lasted for 18 months.
Wait,
Each
really?
day it shone for about 4 hours,
Only
and
that's
still
it?
this light was only a feeble shadow.
4 hours, that's like... I'm pretty sure Alaska doesn't have, like, a lot of sunlight every day or something. Can we... Well, that's like Alaska every day, man. Come on, don't say
Everyone
that.
declared that this sun would never recover its full light. The fruits
yeah.
did not ripen, and the wine
Oh.
tasted like sour grapes.
Well, you know, don't drink
This
wine.
wishy-washy sun situation cast a non-metaphorical dark cloud over the globe that darkened the sky for at least a full year in 536.
That's not good.
Researchers later discovered evidence of a massive volcanic eruption, whose ash was likely a major contributor to the Seattle-like weather, minus all the rain, spreading ash and destruction on a global scale.
So, like
Not
a
to mention,
super
it made the grapes sour and the wine bad. So that's an easy strike for the year
Bro, look at that dude.
536.
So, like a super volcano, are you saying?
Basic biology teaches
Maybe.
us that plants need the sun to aid in their growth and survival.
Yeah,
So not
that
having
makes
direct
sense, yeah.
sunlight for the duration of at least a year did a real number on the crop output around the world.
Yeah, that
and
seems about
sparked
right.
a widespread famine around the globe. And it's not just that the plants wanted to catch their rays, it was
Oh.
just too darn chilly for crops to grow.
Yeah, I mean,
With
if the sun's only going to shine about like 4 hours, and it's saying like for those 4 hours it's not shining that much, they're probably all the fog and clouds, then they're not going to grow. I mean, I would assume if it's everyone. But wait, no, there's not 7 billion people. How many people were alive in year 536? Probably not more than 1 billion. That might even be an overestimate because during like the past like 200 years or something, didn't we grow like 1 billion people? And then like the 200 years before that, we also grew 1 billion people in population. The human population like skyrocketed, so it's probably only like 500 million at this point of people. I don't know, but that would mean less food is being made, but because it's for less people, so it balances out the food situation. But it still means they won't run out of food. They probably did.
Uncloaked in an endless cloud, the temperature of the Earth dropped between 1.6 and 2.5 degrees Celsius. Or 34.88 to 36.5 degrees.
Thanks for putting it in terms
for all the
normal people can
Americans thinking
understand.
that doesn't sound so bad. But it also cooled temperatures for decades to come.
God
Crop
dang it.
scarcities
That
were
movie's
reported
funny.
far and wide around this time period, including Ireland, who suffered through their own horrible-sounding food depletion they called bread failure.
Not the bread! No!
A dusty veil covering the sun wasn't the only bad thing in the air for these poor people just trying to live their lives in 536.
Oh, everything's
There was
on
also
fire.
a plague or two waiting in the wings to strike on these vitamin D-deprived immune systems.
Plague, you say? Yeah, I wonder what everyone's going through now. Yeah, guys, quit complaining. We're also going through it. Jeez.
No, the buboes burst and pus came out.
Did you just say the boo-boos burst and plus came? Okay, you don't have to talk to us like we're 5-year-olds. You're showing us like, you just showed us like adult pictures right before. Don't talk to us like we're 5. This video is not for 5-year-olds, obviously. If you're gonna be showing pictures like what you showed before that I cut out.
Obviously, if this same plague were to infect the world today, there would probably be a TV show called Dr. Bubos, Pus Buster, and with it, a new contender for the worst year to be alive. With the plague beginning to make the rounds in Constantinople, the city began to stink. What with the piles of dead, sick bodies just sort of being tossed around into the sea,
Just
only
get
to
in there!
resurface later. There wasn't a lot of burial planning going around back then.
Bring out your dead!
It was more of a winged vibe around the Justinian plague.
Today.
Emperor Justinian ordered the bodies to be removed
You are from the thumbnail. What's with you?
from the city.
I'm not dead! Yeah, he says he's not dead. Yes, he is. I'm not.
But all that
I'm not dead. Plague of Justinian. Oh, his fault.
probably nice for him. Less so for the
No.
estimated
What's his name? His name's not Justinian. Justin? I don't know.
50 million people that died from it, however.
Oh, that sucks. Summer snow fell in
Around
China.
536, the climate in China started its journey into madness, doing perfectly normal things like raining dust you could scoop into your hands. Not only should it not rain dust, it certainly shouldn't be measurable by the scoopful. The
Wait a minute. It's not even snow, it's just dust? What? How?
A 6th century chronicle reported a yellow ash-like substance falling from the sky. They named their freak weather Hui, or dust, and said it was yellow in color. Whether
Oh, yeah, that's very creative of a name. What's this? Dust. Is that literally where the name dust comes from? Are you serious?
this was volcanic ash or just some random, unexplained climate reaction is not known. However, this
Okay.
was just the beginning of China's climate disruption. The chronicles of the southern dynasties reported on a rare summer-winter weather event with frost in the midsummer and snow in August.
That's okay,
Like a Southern
interesting.
California girl in Chicago in January, the crops were not here for this cold snap.
Okay.
Summer crops were destroyed, and
Whoops. Volcanic eruptions made things worse. Yeah, I bet they
researchers
would.
discovered evidence deep in the ice sheets of Iceland and Greenland that indicated a major volcanic event occurred around 536. Volcanic eruptions in Iceland in 540 and 547 thrust people into the literal Dark Ages, with ash lining the skies and blocking out the shiny hot sun thing in the sky that the people of the 6th century were starting to get used to having around.
Oh, okay.
Based on a tropical
I
volcano.
don't think that's a good thing to get used to, because that doesn't really... That's bad. That's a bad thing to get used to. Having you hit the sky dark all day. That's not a good thing to get used to. That's bad.
Volcanic ash later discovered, some scholars have suggested a volcano in El Salvador went blasting off around the year 535 or 536.
Oh, bro.
Still
Oh,
others-
she got hit. Oh, dang. She's running just boom. She dead.
Pointed to a volcanic eruption in North America as a contributor to the dark skies
Oh.
around the world. When
Okay.
combined with the 2 Icelandic volcano eruptions,
Oh, wait. The movie in 2009 was called 2012. Yeah, that totally makes sense.
it kicked off what was adorably called the Late Antique Little Ice Age.
Little
This
Ice
cute
Age.
little ice age cooled off the planet for at least a decade and resulted in the death of crops and subsequently people.
Yeah,
Both directly
Oh, people died because it was a little ice age. Who would have
through
thought?
starvation and indirectly, a malnourished population was more susceptible to diseases, of which there were plenty running around. Well, there's one
yeah.
thing that certainly couldn't claim it had a bad year: exploding volcanoes.
Wow, that's likely sealed the fate of the
By
Roman
the time
Empire.
the 6th century rolled around, the Roman Empire had migrated east to Constantinople.
Okay.
And, under the guiding hand of Emperor Justinian, the Romans sought to get back to the glory days of the empire. Much like a high
sure.
school graduate who still hangs around campus and wears
That's not a...
their Letterman jacket.
That is just... Why would you put that in the video?
I mean, it is pretty cool. Though some of
No,
Justinian's
that guy's like 50.
generals saw success in this cool
Ah, that guy's bald.
goal, most notable Belisarius, who fought
Alright, I just had to point that out because the high school graduated to 6th round was bald. And it caught me off guard. I can't take this video seriously anymore. It's all this guy's fault.
against several different armies, including Goths, Vandals, and others. Justinian himself couldn't mirror the success due to constant uprisings and imperial instability.
Alright.
Those pesky uprisings.
Oh, dang. You just got, right in the eye.
Always getting in the
Boom.
way of success. To add sickness to war defeats, the Byzantine Empire would never fully recover from the disease and famine sparked by the
elder
events
is
of
dying.
536. The Byzantine Empire lost between 35 to 55% of their population in the year 541.
That's not
once the
good.
bubonic plague moved in and did what the plague did best. Killed
God, that's like a freaking Grim Reaper right
depressingly
there.
high percentages of entire populations. Historians believe the plague could have been transported by plague-infested rats hitching a ride on military trains during this attempt to bring the Roman Empire back to its peak,
Like the Black
which
Plague.
clearly backfired.
Okay, where's this
The horribleness
civilization?
of 536 didn't discriminate. The Moche civilization of Peru wouldn't count 536 as their banner year either. The Moche civilization, a once
Alright.
dominant force in the region, were known to be avid fishermen
Is that their civilization? That whatever we're talking about? There's a lot of squares in this. This is Minecraft. Quit making squares.
and developers of an advanced irrigation system that allowed a variety of crops to grow. Their agricultural talents were the backbone of their economy, but the weather conditions in the 6th century caused their pocketbooks to take a deep hit. It was around this time that an unusually strong El Nino weather system
El
caused
Niño.
waters to warm, which decimated the fish supply. The freak weather system also caused heavy flooding, which ruined their irrigation systems and devastated their ability to grow enough food to feed their people.
Dang it! The fish are dead, and now the water's screwing the food. How did anyone survive this year? Oh, what's going
People,
on?
Probably tired of listening to
I won 2018 PM. Like 2018 was the worst year. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh, your worst year. Wait a minute. Are you not considering 20? Are you not considering year 538? Excuse me, ma'am.
Twitter users claim X and X was the worst year ever. A group of scholars set out to set the record
Oh my gosh, look, Thomas even agrees with us. Look, Thomas the Tank Engine right there. Even agrees.
straight
Why
once and
is
for
he
all.
here?
Harvard historian Michael McCormick and a group of scholars decided to science their way out of the age-old question, what was the worst year to be alive? Initially, however, this was not
Oh, okay, so scholars from this year. I thought we were talking about scholars from year 536. I didn't know those. I guess those weren't a thing. I was just assuming it was from year 536. They were analyzing the evidence. This is the worst year ever. Yeah, I just realized, what would they be analyzing the evidence of? Nothing.
the ultimate goal of McCormick and his group of 12 interdisciplinary scholars. The group came together to study metal usage, coinage, and changes to the 7th century monetary systems.
Oh,
Somewhere in this thrilling subject matter, one probably began to ponder if they were living in the worst year to be alive. Their findings included an analysis of volcanic fragments from an Icelandic volcano in ice core samples.
I'm assuming a lot of inflation would have taken place, because if everything's going to be like scarce, crops are going to be scarce. I'm assuming year 536, did they even have medicine? That's my question. And if they did, was it just chopping a limb off if you got sick? I'm pretty sure that's what they just did back then.
From Swiss glaciers that, yes, dated back to 536, confirming the volcanic event that thrusted a good portion of the northern hemisphere into
there's the moon.
unprecedented darkness, setting off a global catastrophe. Yeah, but in 1998, both Armageddon and Deep Impact were released, and people had to choose between which two asteroid-based action movies they liked best. It's a tough year.
Really? Oh!
The planet left behind plenty of evidence of climate trauma that resulted in a chain of climate events that spiraled over.
I make it start. There was a massive, huge beam with blood on a magnifying glass, with a finger that's the size of frickin' North America. watching over us.
Trees recycle.
Recycle, everyone.
Dendrochronologists,
Ooh.
people who study tree rings to determine a tree's age, since that's a science and not a wild guess,
Yeah, okay.
notice some disturbing patterns emerge.
Wait, isn't like every ring on a tree like another 10 years? I don't know if that's. I know every ring means some amount of years. I think it's every 10 years. So on this tree there is 7 rings, so that would make it 70 years.
Emerging when examining Icelandic trees. The rings indicated a period when the tree's growth had slowed, suggesting a significant cool-down had occurred around the middle of the 6th century.
Oh, are we looking at like that middle-ish part to the left right there? That's interesting.
This, combined with the newly unearthed ice core evidence discovered in 2018, helped date the time of the catastrophic event that ruined Earth for a little bit, to the year 536. In researching for the worst year to be alive, things weren't always so bleak. In fact, the research started by our friends at Harvard ended on a positive note. While the events of 536 were the spark for some truly literal dark days in our planet's history, the researchers were also able to find the moments things really started to turn around. When researching coinage, they noticed the reappearance of lead in the ice core samples, indicating that people were producing silver again for money. Ah, capitalism, the life force of us all. Experts argued the prevalence of silver meant more coins were being produced, which was a sign of a thriving economy.
Yes!
The lesson being, as bad as it may seem, it will almost always get better. Almost always. So what do you think?
Can't just show me a movie I've never
seen
seen before and expect me to
the
get.
ultimate game with Survivor?
Let
us know in the comments below, and while you're at it, check out some of these other videos from our weird history.
How you could survive the Black Plague? Well, not today. I don't need to worry about that until we actually get another Black Plague, apparently. Okay, well, I guess that was year 536, the worst year to be alive. Okay, well, I guess no, I can say 2020 is the worst year ever now. I mean, you can say it's the worst year of your life, but it's not the worst year of everyone's life, counting everyone who's dead. It's year 536, so yeah, okay, that's a year. That's a year as well. All right, just me reacting to this. I don't know. Legit, this kept popping up yesterday and probably the day before. So I'm like, okay, well, fine, YouTube. I'll give in. I'll watch it. Jeez.
Thank you all for watching. Give this vid a liking. Go subscribe for much more. Comments I don't ignore. And post notifications.